So it's a real honor and a privilege for me to introduce Kevin Sneader to all of you. He's a global managing partner of McKinsey, elected to that position last year, and took over from a good friend, Dominic Barton. Kevin is based in Hong Kong, where he has had a couple of tours of duty with his wife, the first one in Beijing and then in Hong Kong now after 4 or 5 years. And he's here with his daughter, Allison. So please stand up for recognition. Allison just finished her first year at Brown University, so congratulations. Kevin's roots as a global citizen started without him knowing it. His father, who was a professor of pharmacy at the university, and his mother, who was a school teacher, moved to Ottawa, Canada, supposedly for a long period of time, but they ended up there only 1 year, and that's when Kevin was born. And the story has it that they moved back, to Scotland because the weather in Scotland was much better than in Ottawa. So then he grew up there in Glasgow, and went to school at the university, and fell in love with the Glasgow Celtics soccer team, which to this day he continues to be a big fan, and he tells me he's on the board of directors of the club. So if any one of you are looking for good tickets, for the soccer games, you know where to go now. Eventually, Kevin also went to Harvard Business School, which, as a graduate of Stanford Business School, I always have admired Harvard, but we have a good competition going. He ended up at McKinsey, and let me tell you the story. Kevin was in student government at the university, and one of the glamorous jobs of the student government people was to clean up the bar after all the drinking, but also to clean up the library. So he ended up going out and making everything tidy in the library, and he saw a brochure that piqued his interest, and it was a McKinsey recruiting brochure. So he looked at it, and I guess he was looking for a job by then, and he said, why not? Let me send an application to it. And the response was, we don't hire too many people from your university. Actually, we don't hire anybody from your university. But come down to London and we'll talk. So he went down there and successfully passed the interviews, and he became the Scottish business analyst. And from that day on, that's how they referred to him, as the Scottish business analyst, because he was such a rare commodity in the London office of McKinsey. Those were not the days where McKinsey was very global, at least not in the UK. Right? So he started in London, then we moved to Paris, then went to Beijing, where he set up the China office in 1994, and came back actually to the US and spent some years here in Manhattan, but working in New Jersey. Right? And eventually went back to Hong Kong. One of the things that struck me as I was reading about Kevin was his work at McKinsey. Obviously, they have a lot of clients in the various industries and the like, but there were two things that piqued my interest. And one was the work that he and others at McKinsey had done in terms of growth and innovation in China, and particularly in Asia. And the other one was diversity, which is so important nowadays, particularly gender diversity. So he's been a champion of gender diversity, and not only at McKinsey, but in all the other companies that he advises, and obviously been a champion of helping private companies in China, confront all the challenges that they have. So Kevin now took over as the lead of McKinsey, and the question is, where does the organization of 30,000 employees in 130 cities go to? What do they do? And I think that we're looking to that, but importantly, the world is very complex nowadays. It's very challenging, and the world needs an organization like McKinsey because they are the group of smart people that are going to help every type of institution, whether it's corporate, in certain cases governmental, religious, political, deal with those complexities and deal with those challenges that are becoming even more so in this globalizing world. Kevin has a lot of different philanthropic endeavors with leukemia and lymphoma, with the Scottish Enterprise, with the British American business. But the one that I like the most is his work that just started, I think a few months ago, with an organization called FCLT Global. And that stands for Focus Capital on the Long Term. In this day and age of so much short-term visions of the capital markets, we badly need an organization like that, which I'm actually I'm a member of it, and my company is a member of it. And Mark Weissman, who's a good friend, twisted my arm. He wanted me on the board, and I said, I don't have time, but it's a good cause. So anyhow, we are cheering for you and your fellow members of that organization to help us make capitalism a little longer term driven rather than short term. So it is an honor, again, and a privilege to present to you the Foreign Policy Association Medal for all your contributions as a global citizen, as a leader of McKinsey, and in all your philanthropic endeavors. Congratulations.